Yeah, yeah. I mean, if unless we want to finish up that 10-2 Chocobo theme.
I'm good.
No,
Good.
no,
Good.
no, I'm fine. I'm really fine. Don't worry.
Hello and welcome to Rhythm Encounter episode 57, the RPG Fan Music Podcast. I'm your host, Mike Salbato, and with me today are two of my favorite returning guests. First, we have Eva Padilla.
Hello there.
Hello. And random encounter host, Greg Delmage.
That's me. Hi, everybody.
Hello. So I'm very happy to have both of you here.
Thank you so much for having me back.
As you
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, of course. Always. I don't think you do enough podcasts. You only run one yourself. You obviously need to come on this one all the time, too. So, as you might have noticed by whatever we're titling this episode, today we're talking about Final Fantasy IX. We thought it'd be a good one to have since November 13th of this year actually marks 20 years. Oh my gosh, wow. I feel so old. 20 years since the game came out in North America, not all the Western releases because it didn't come out until Europe until 3 months later. In any case, it is the 20-year anniversary of Final Fantasy IX in North America, so we figured we should probably celebrate it. Since somehow, over 50 plus episodes of Rhythm Encounter, I think we have had 2 or 3 songs from Final Fantasy IX, and that's just not enough. So I say that we rectify this and talk about Final Fantasy IX for, 6 tracks?
Yes,
Sound
please.
Good?
Yes, let's do it.
All right. So some of us brought some stuff from the original soundtrack, and then we also have some fun surprises from other albums. So we'll get to that. So I say we should get right into it. So our first block of 2 songs here will be, we have a song from Eva and a song from me. So let's start with your song, Eva. What do you have?
So my song is Behind the Door, composed by Nobuo Uematsu, who you might have heard of before, and it's from the original OST.
Great. And then I really got to start saying something besides great every time someone says that.
Great.
I hope no one picked up on that except me. Yeah.
I mean, we keep picking.
I
great
edit all of
music,
these,
so-
and
Yeah,
it is great music, but I need a thesaurus.
everything's great.
Yes. So after Behind the Door, I have one of my favorite Chocobo themes, which is Ukulele de Chocobo.
Yes.
And if you like Chocobo themes and ukuleles, well, I mean, how can you go wrong?
You can't.
So
Simply you can't.
exactly, you simply can't. All right, so let's go listen to Behind the Door and Ukulele de Chocobo.
So, I picked for our very first song for this Final Fantasy IX anniversary episode, a song that ends the game, essentially, which is Behind the Door. I think it's the best ending in any Final Fantasy, at least that I'm thinking of right now. When I was listening to this, I love the song and I listen to it pretty frequently, but I was like, yeah, I think that's my favorite ending in Final Fantasy, because you have Garnet and she's running down the stairs and she hasn't seen Zidane, and she is pushing through the crowd, and there's this one moment like halfway through the song where there's some hesitation where she doesn't think she's going to see him again, and then he appears and they hold each other, and she's crying and she's hitting his chest like, you jerk, what are you doing? And and they just stand there locked in this embrace, and Vivi and Aiko are cheering Beatrice and Steiner, like holding up this sword. It's so good.
Aiko is finally accepted all that's happening.
Yeah, she's like, fine, I'll let you have my man. Like, this song is just happily ever after in 124 seconds. Like, it's like, this is the song that I would want to like ride off into the sunset to. It's amazing.
It's so Disney, especially like right off the top. It's so whimsical and magical. And at the end of this game that has such a whimsical, magical, and arguably safe soundtrack that Nobuo did, it caps it off really nicely and has just a really nice little journey through the rise and fall of that whole, the tumultuousness of that relationship and what that all has culminated into. And yeah, I just, when you picked it, and then when we were rewatching that scene, it reminded me too of like, oh, right, my feelings, curse you, Ava. Because that's the first game the first ending of Final Fantasy, the first Final Fantasy game that ever made me choke up. Like, it got me at the end, though. Just like, I want to be your canary, and she's like, oh my gosh, you're there. Is it real? And she, just tearing down, get out of my way, just her thrill for it, but then the apprehension is it's absolutely beautiful, and just got me right in the sweet spot. And coming from a place as a performer too, I loved that, using the stage as his, hey, I'm here, still love you,
Perfect.
I think when Final Fantasy IX came out on PS4, I can't remember if I got the PS4 version of the Steam one, but I haven't played it since the original came out. So I started playing it again, and kind of fell by the wayside for some other things. But hearing you both talk about this is reminding me I need to get back to it and play through again, because I did enjoy it, but I'm admittedly rusty on much of the game.
That's fair.
I think we've both played it pretty recently, because you reviewed it, right, Greg?
I checked out the Switch port. I didn't finish the game yet because I finished it prior. It's definitely been years since I finished it, but I remember the journey quite well.
As y'all are probably not surprised, I just played this game like 14 months ago. So it's still pretty fresh in my mind, and I remember just the warm fuzzies that I was getting as the scene played out. So yeah, it was definitely like, if we're doing a Final Fantasy IX episode, that song has to make it in.
Absolutely. Like, say what people will about, again, how safe so much of that game was, which it was. It was definitely a return to form for them to try and get back to their roots of that classic whimsical fantasy. But, just in the same way that, like, Star Wars, The Force Awakens played it safe to get people back in, it was the same kind of thing. They rounded out that whole generation of games with just, we tried some crazy stuff. We know you weren't too keen on 8. Here's a bit more of what you want with a little bit of growth in it, and we'll see you next console.
Yeah.
No, I think it was good. It was a good time to do that.
And the soundtrack complements it perfectly in the culmination of the song.
Exactly. Yeah. Beyond what I said, I don't have a lot else, because apparently we all had the same thought of like classic Disney fairy tale stuff. When you mentioned the happily ever after thing, I realized that's where we were all going with that. It's interesting that we all had a similar thought there.
Yeah, it's just the way the music like kind of just swells, and at the end, like, yeah, it's by the books, but it just does the job so well. So
I think part of it is probably also because of Garnet feels like the most Disney of, I think, Final Fantasy characters that come to mind, really.
oh my gosh, you're so right.
You know, she's
okay, yeah.
she's this kind of, you know, she feels kind of similar to like a Princess Jasmine sort of character. You know, she's royalty, and she's of a higher status than her man. I mean, to be fair, you know, Zidane is also like Aladdin, so.
Oh, geez,
yeah.
Is Final Fantasy IX just Aladdin?
It is just Aladdin.
All right, okay.
Abu, Kina,
yep.
Same thing.
Amarant is
Kuja and
Raja.
Jafar. Kuja, Jafar, basically the same thing. Both, you know, strangely
Iago's
attractive.
the
We'll get
queen.
past that.
Who's the genie then?
Look, don't stretch my metaphor.
I was gonna say
Okay.
it's definitely not Steiner, although part of me wants it to be.
Comparison.
Oh my
I guess
gosh.
Aiko. I don't know.
I like.
Crystals.
I don't know why I like the idea of Steiner as the genie, but let's go for it.
You ain't never
if
had
it
a
can't
friend
be
like me, but
if it
don't
can't
do
be
that.
Kina.
I mean, I could see Robin Williams playing Steiner.
He'd be so
Actually,
good.
yeah.
Oh my gosh, if that was a thing. Anyways,
Okay, well, this went in a weird direction, but I'm okay with it.
that's what we do.
Yeah, it is what we do.
It's a whole new world, you might say.
It is. It is. The other thing we do is make really terrible segues to Chocobo songs.
Oh, do we?
You see what I did there?
A really terrible segue
So,
to a Chocobo song.
Yes, that's exactly it.
Wow.
You got it.
On the nose.
You're so insightful.
You catch on fast.
Yeah.
That's why
I
they let
didn't
me
get
host
that yet.
a whole podcast to myself.
Okay. All right. I'm actually going to go get some ice cream. So if you want to just finish this up, go for it.
Yeah, let's talk about some
Yeah.
gosh darn ukuleles.
Yes, please.
Oh, yes. Ukulele de Chocobo is definitely one of my favorite Chocobo themes. I don't know if it's my top one. I'd really have to sit down and think about it, because I know there's some other ones that are way up there. 13's Pulse de Chocobo is great, and some other ones that I'm blanking on, but
I was gonna say I do like the OG 5 one, if only just because of the way Boko dances.
yes, good one. Yeah, I need to listen. I got an album years ago, because in 2013 Square actually released a compilation of Chocobo themes, appropriately titled Compi di Chocobo, and it's 62 tracks of Chocobo themes from the main games, from side games. I mean, it goes down to Chocobo Racing and some of the spin-offs, and there's some arrangements, there's originals, there's so much on there. And that was in 2013. I don't even know how many Chocobo themes have come up since then.
There's gotta be one per like expansion in like 14, right?
You would think, not really, although the game did launch with at least 2, 3, or 4 Chocobo themes. So there's other mount themes, but they're not all based on the Chocobo theme. Point is, this is one of the best ones.
Yep.
One of my favorite Chocobo themes, and just for reference, not, as I found out that my autocorrect likes correcting Chocobo to Chocoholic. I think my iPad was just judging me, because it's not entirely wrong, but it's not what I was talking about at the moment. I'm trying to talk about birds, not chocolate.
My name is Mike and I like chocolate. My name is Mike and I like chocolate. I'm gonna eat so much chocolate tonight. Yes, I really am. You can't stop me. I don't know. Enjoy that,
really
everybody.
What?
is that on the Final Fantasy IX Plus soundtrack? Because I'm not as familiar with that one.
It's a Final Fantasy minus soundtrack, actually.
Oof. Shots fired.
All right, we're done. Show's over.
Enjoy this next 3-year hiatus.
Hey, don't jinx me.
We'll wait till Greg's off the site and then we'll start again.
No.
But yes, why did you pick this one
kidding.
aside from it being one of your faves? Sorry to derail.
I picked it just because it's fun. I like the ukulele. It's just a really fun rendition, and it still fits. It's not that Final Fantasy IX is like necessarily a light game, but I think compared to the two that came before it, it's definitely has a lighter, little more upbeat feel to it. You know, more of the fantasy as we talked about, and I think this song really fits that well because it doesn't take itself too seriously, kind of like some of our characters in 9, and I mean that in the best possible way.
Absolutely. Like, it's very much within Zidane's character to
Yeah,
have this kind of laid back, lazy ride on a chocobo.
Exactly. So like there's the ukulele, and then the background, I mean, not that these are real instruments as far as I know anyway, but I guess it's maracas, like making up the other half of the song, which is just a whole lot of fun too. So yeah.
And then you get that soundbite of the actual chocobo, which means like even they're having a good time. They're in on it.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. Oh shoot, I forgot to write that down. Yeah, I was going to mention that. So thank you.
Yeah, and I think I also love this. This is my favorite chocobo theme. It's
Ditto.
Just, when I think about chocobos, I think about pure joy, and this song captures that better than any other chocobo theme, in my opinion.
Oh, Eva, that's literally the first note I wrote as well.
Oh my god,
just pure
Greg,
joy.
we're just on the same wavelength today. And I think it's funny also that like around this time when the game was released was when Sakaguchi moved to Hawaii. So I think he was also feeling Ukulele de Chocobo as well.
Oh, I didn't know
Neither did
that.
I. That's great.
Yeah, because they were that was where they were working on Spirits Within, which was, you know, not a joyful thing.
I mean, I think like Peter is to FF15. I think I am to like Spirits Within.
Oh
Wait,
really?
really?
I mean, I'm not
seen it,
quite
so.
as big an apologist as I guess he is for 15, but there's a lot of it I like about it. It was bold, but anyways, that's a whole different take, and people can disown me if they want, but
Well, we won't disown you. I think your takes are interesting.
Yes.
I haven't
agreed.
seen it, so I have no opinion, but yeah, the song
At the
the song's
time,
rad.
I mean,
it was a thing.
the CG at the time was amazing.
That's true too.
I don't know how it holds up now.
It holds
Same
up
with Advent
well
Children,
enough,
but okay.
but it's more just it's a thing, story breakdown, all that sort of stuff. I mean, again, it's there's a reason they didn't make more aside from Advent Children, so they dissolved that entire
King's
department
Life.
like immediately. So there's reasons.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is pure joy, and like my headcanon is, you know, this is what plays in Prompto's head always. Speaking of Final Fantasy 15, and someone who is so
Okay,
enthusiastic about chocobos.
Yes. I like that. I like that a lot, actually.
But yeah, my favorite rendition as well, and it's just, I also love how well it is catered to the movement of the chocobo itself, just to tie it right to the game. Like just the way the chocobo kind of bobs along as it's running just is perfect with the rhythm of it, and then you throw in the fact that there's the whole hot and cold game, like just making so much fun surround the chocobos of FF9. This song just is perfect for it.
Oh yeah. Oh geez, that hot and cold game. Wow.
Love it or hate it.
Actually, I might be talking about it later. Oh no, I love it. It's one of my favorite things in 9. Yeah. Well, we're off to a good start.
Good, great picks, you two.
Pat ourselves on the back.
Aha. Now you're the one that said great that time.
See,
Great.
there we go, breaking it up for you.
Great. Yes.
As opposed to the Greg picks that are coming up.
Aha. Actually, yes. You do have the next one. So going into block 2, what's our first? Like, I don't know. I don't know how else to respond to that. I'm sorry.
Okay, I lobbed it in there. You kind of like got a piece of it, but then yeah, whatever.
I chuckled. It deserves a chuckle.
It was more of the segue, but we got there. So block 2 looks like is the sads block, kind of.
A little bit.
A little bit, but I went with a rendition of, I think it's Roses of May is the actual version.
Is the original, yeah.
I think, yeah. And this is called just Rose of May, which was done by, at the time when I discovered it on OC Remix, she was going by Kate the Great, but she now goes, her artist name is Erutan, and she's since done a whole album of mixes and stuff from games, and it's on A Bard's Side Quest was the album that she did, which is, yeah, again, when you listen to it, the musicality will lend itself to that. So, yeah.
An amazing album. I don't even know how many times I've listened to it. But after that, after Rose of May, I brought Freya's theme, also from the original soundtrack for 9, because it's Freya's theme. I like Freya. So,
and you just like it as is?
Yes. I like it as is. I did listen to a bunch of different arrangements, and there are good ones out there, but there's something about this original that I had to stick with this one. So, all right. Let's go listen to Rose of May, just the one, and Freya's theme.
Her heart underneath cries quietly. This part of me I choose not to see. What lives must I take for fealty's sake? How much blood must stay this warrior's blade? War leaves its trail in moonlight so pale, its shadows they flow in rivers and rivers. So put on my mask, I'll go where they ask, so I might once again see the roses of May, staining my soul and stinging my eyes, the red on my hands. Oh, wash away, nowhere to run from what I have done. I'm no longer a rose of May. Fate holds the blade before you, mirrored in maiden's eyes. Far from myself I fly into the perilous skies, and they said follow the blade before you, fear fall and courage rise. Leave all your tears behind you, far from where innocence lies. Cage of the kings, no need for wings, so turn them to stone, from roses to bone. When you look at me, what do you see? This costume I weave, disfiguring me. War leaves its trail
So Rose of May, which is, yeah, again, one S away from Roses of May, but just Erutan's take on it. I've been in love with this song since I first heard it in OC Remix. Just the heart that it brings to that piece and the heart that it brings to Beatrix's character. Like, I just love the story she tells with her lyrics and how hauntingly beautiful, like, her harmonies are with those rounds. Is just spot on. And then she maintains the whole medieval vibe of the soundtrack the way Uematsu created by just keeping that simple bardic kind of driving drum melody, and the instrumentation is very simple and focused around the voice. It's lovely. What did you two think about it? Have you heard it before?
No, I had never heard Erutan. Is that how you say it? Her name?
I think so. Erutan or Erutan.
Yeah, I've never heard of her before. I had never heard this piece either. You know, I've heard Roses of May, but you know, it's from a while ago, and you can tell like the early recording quality is a bit rough. Like you can hear some plosives and such, but
yeah,
that voice, wow! I mean, it's just like I'm thrilled every time she does a little trill. It's just achingly gorgeous. Something that I would love to hear in a live setting. I think it would just be transcendental. It has this sort of
good word
feeling. It has this sort of feeling that I get like when I listen to the Near Gestalt OST. This sort of the calm after something terrible, like an apocalyptic event. It's kind of walking in that sort of ruin and just trying to hold some semblance of peace. It's gorgeous.
Yeah, just everything that's in there that she's just trying to work through. It's just, yeah, I don't want to go too deep into that. I'll give Mike a chance before we steal all his words, as he often lets his guests do.
No, I mean, go ahead. So far, you're not on the same track I was on, so
that's
you can
good.
Say what you want.
Well, just to round out my thoughts with that is just, yeah, again, like just the amount of like Beatrix's struggle, we don't get to see a lot of it, but it would make sense given her noble knightly ways that, yeah, this internal struggle would be very real. And then I don't know, the Shakespearean Shakespeare file, whatever, in me also just kind of enjoys the parallel between Lady Macbeth and Beatrix, and just how like just the out damn spot aspect that Erutan brought to the lyrics in this as well. It's just, yeah, the whole thing, how like she feels so dirty for what she's doing, but at the same time she has to maintain her pride as a knight by obeying her nation, her queen, her kingdom. So it's so tragic and beautiful, and I wish we got to play as Beatrix a lot more and could have helped her redeem and join the party for good.
I mean, she can join your party for good in Record Keeper.
That's true.
If that helps at all.
And I do have her. And I think I do have her like Rose of May or whatever relic that gives me that power.
Ah, great. Yeah. I think that's one of the reasons that I am now, almost 6 years on still playing Record Keeper, is because I can just have a party of all of my favorite Final Fantasy paladins. So, but yeah, I love this song. I know this was one of the first songs that a few of us were talking about bringing on. So I was pretty confident that it would be on the show in some form. I wasn't sure which form, but I'm really happy that it was this one. I think this album is how I discovered her too, back in 2013 when it came out. And we ran a feature back then for a, what was it called? It was like a online game music festival. We kind of collaborated a little bit with Louder, who's not around anymore, but at the time,
but we
were kind of doing, but like the spirit of Louder kind of moved on to Materia Collective and Bandcamp and some other stuff.
Oh, yeah. SoundCloud?
No, like specifically Materia Collective. Like some of the people from Louder went to do that.
I didn't realize that. That's awesome.
Yeah. So, but no, they did this little festival and there was a few albums that were featured during that. And this was one of the albums. So I believe I reviewed it. I guess I should remember that. But, that was 7 years ago. So she's just amazing. So I don't, like I said, I'm a little rusty on Final Fantasy IX. I think you both covered Beatrix and the backing of this enough. I'm just here to say, yes, it is good, and I will definitely recommend, whether that's Eva or anyone listening, to look up and listen to the rest of this album as well, because it is an hour long, and she has some stuff on there from Final Fantasy VII, Silent Hill, Dark Cloud, Xenogears, and Portal, because why not?
That sounds
It'll be
really good.
On the post, right? So
it will be on the post on RPG.
And I think it's all on her YouTube channel as well. Like, it's just been good watching her grow her fan base and her talents, and yeah, it'd be awesome to see this remastered, her take this to the studio again, because like you said, it's just it shows its age in terms of what was available at the time, what her finances were at the time, who knows.
Yeah, but really happy to have it here.
So happy that you might call it great.
No. Now I'm starting to get aware of it. I would call it that, but again, a different word. I thought you were going to try to make a weird segue into the next song, but I was really curious how you were going to pull that off.
Nope, not at all.
It was so good that you might call it Freya?
What?
Yeah. All right.
What?
I don't know.
What is...
You're lucky we love you.
No,
I wasn't saying that. Like, I was trying to figure out what you were going to say.
You just had to be dragooning us into this. Come on. See?
Yeah.
Bad puns all around.
Dragooning us down to your level.
Yes.
Well, I guess we should jump into the next song. Anyways.
I really want to see how
There
long
we
this
go.
is going to go on now.
No, we're ending it here.
No,
Please.
you don't.
Please don't.
Can you continue any longer?
No.
Okay.
Just
So,
talk about the dang song.
I mean, you could too. So I think this is maybe my second favorite as far as, my second favorite dramatic song in all of Final Fantasy IX. For reasons I can't explain, I did not bring my favorite on here because I thought it was too obvious, and I really wanted Freya's theme, so
That's
there
fair.
we are.
Which one is your favorite?
Not Alone.
Oh, okay, that's fair.
I was down between those three, and I really wanted Freya, and so it became between Not Alone and Chocobo, and the Chocobo had to win. But yeah, so out of all of Final Fantasy IX's, there's between the original soundtrack and the Plus soundtrack, there's something like 150 songs or so.
It's a lot.
In this game.
A lot of music.
Yeah, that's a lot of music. So of all of that, this would be my number 2 of the dramatic stuff. But it's so good. It's so good. Again, I know they're not real instruments here, as far as I know, but
yeah,
I'm just going to call it the clarinet or the wind instrument or whatever it is.
Yeah, it's like a simulated flute
kind of
or whatever.
really, yeah, that's like driving the song, and I love it. It's hard not to listen to this and not think of Freya and Bermesia and the rain, and it just, again, as rusty as I am on the game, I remember that, like the visual component of that.
Absolutely.
And it's just, yeah.
Well, it's got that like really great harpsichord bass line that brings a certain refinement to her character because she is so noble in her way. But then also the way it kind of like plinks out, you just reminding me of the rain. It's very much part of the song through the harpsichord, like it's like rain falling, just with the kind of not quite staccato, but just the rhythmic nature of it just feels like, yeah, that rain falling in the background over top of her. And then you just get this like forlorn flute that brings in the hurt that she feels over Sir Fratley leaving. And I'd forgotten how much it changes, like once you get to 118, and then you get a bit more drama with the strings and everything, as she kind of like, I don't know, in my mind feels like that's where her strength comes from, and then you get this whole resolution where she's just like, I accept my fate, with the organ and this like synthetic choir, and it got a lovely journey that, like you said, it really speaks to her character beautifully.
Right.
Yeah, definitely.
There's this, like, towards the end of it, there's this sort of, I don't know if you'd describe it as her feeling some catharsis and that she's moving forward, or her just kind of resigning herself to the fact that her love with Fratly is doomed. I'm not quite sure which exactly it is, but
Yeah.
I think that the wind instrument in it sounds like how she's connected to Fratly. I mean, it's kind of distant. It sounds like it's something you can't really reach out and grab. It's kind of ethereal. And
Oh yeah.
it really just, I think it really just adds such a wonderful tone to the song as kind of a contrast to the strength of that bass harpsichord.
Yeah, I definitely agree. You always bring in good words, Eva.
Well, thank you.
A very developed vocabulary.
Yes, at least twice today. I've noticed. I've thought it, and Greg is like verbalized it. It's like, ooh, that's a good word. So, yes. For more of Eva's words, be sure to check out her Assassin's Creed Valhalla review.
Which is funny because, like Freya, the Norse god, is also in Assassin's Creed Valhalla. So I was thinking about her when I was listening to this song, and I couldn't really make any direct connections, but it was still an interesting kind of parallel to have.
Yeah.
Taking another look at Sir Fratly, do you feel like at one point his name was Sir Ratley and they're like, we can't? And they wanted to tie it more to Freya and change it to Fratly.
Sir Ratley. That'd be really funny if it was.
I mean, I wouldn't put it past it.
I like it. Let's spread a rumor and make it true.
There we go.
Or try to convince people that
I'm
it's true.
starting the Wikipedia page right now.
Okay.
But
Make
yeah,
it so.
just Freya is great. And
Yes.
Yeah.
I think my recent playthrough, I think I used her a lot more this time around. And she's definitely a staple in my Final Fantasy IX party and record keeper, since we're talking about it.
Yes.
I still will never understand why she has Dragoon powers but is dressed as a red mage, though. I don't... that part's always been a little bit confusing to me.
And
the
as a
design's
dancer.
great, I just don't... Oh, yeah. I suppose that's true, too.
I love the Highland Dance number, and that's in that game.
Yes.
I'm trying to think
It's
now.
misdirection.
Was Riverdance a thing? I feel like Riverdance was a companion piece of art at that time. Not to the, obviously, connected to the game, but just, I feel like that's where the inspiration definitely came from.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure it was.
A contemporary, that's the word I was looking for. I feel like it was a
Yes.
contemporary, and yeah, I love that. But sorry, I derailed you there, Eva.
Oh, no. I can't think of what I was going to say. I don't think I was saying anything.
Freya needs to cast spells.
I think... Well, no. Again, I think
No.
it's misdirection.
Yeah, that's fair.
You see her on the battlefield and you go, oh, well, she's going to cast a spell on me. Well, just kidding. She's going to jump on you.
But she cast a spell on all our hearts.
Yes. Well, Greg, while you're making that Wikipedia page, I guess we'll introduce this third block here with another Chocobo adjacent theme from Eva.
Yeah, this next one is Vamo alla Django, which is Vamo alla Flamenco, but the Overclocked remix by Andy Pearce, Cain McCormack, and Dan Bryant.
All right. And then after that, Greg has our almost last track today.
Got Melodies of Life on there. It's such a staple of the soundtrack. And I grabbed it from the Piano Collection's Final Fantasy IX version, just because, well, you'll hear it.
These are both excellent choices. Excellent choices, both of you.
Excellent.
Oh,
Excellent.
that was
I'm
fantastic.
so happy to hear that.
Yes, I'm glad to.
He
Let's go
says-
on and listen to our last...
He says
Sorry.
through gritted teeth.
No. I'm smiling. I should turn my video on. You can see that. All right, let's go listen to our last two tracks.
So I picked Vamo Django because I love the way it takes what is originally a Spanish flamenco track that definitely speaks to Uematsu's experimentation on this soundtrack and kind of pushes it a few countries over to this sort of Romani jazz style that was popularized by Django Reinhardt about 70, 80 years ago. And it's I love it. It has this effortless cool to it that Django Reinhardt's music has always had. You put that on and it's just, you just feel coolness, you feel calm and chill emanating from it. It's so, it's the kind of stuff you hear in a coffee shop or maybe in a Wes Anderson movie.
Or on like a back street in Paris or something.
Yes, that's like, yes, exactly.
It's just people, it's just like, it feels like very communal. People come together, just dance, clap, watch, like, yeah, it's very sharing community music.
Communal, that's a really great thought for it. I love that idea of it. And especially with how it all builds. When I was listening to it, it all sounds so effortless and it sounds so relaxed. But when you look at the video of this, I mean, their fingers are flying a mile a minute. And I was just thinking about, what if these were all electric guitars? And just like how intense that would be. And it's really a testament to these guitar players that they keep this calm about it. It's great. Love this.
Oh, I gotta watch the video then. I know you linked it, but I didn't watch it yet. I just listened to the song, but that sounds like a good time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I actually don't know how I have not heard this remix because
ditto.
For a while there, I was really, really heavy into OC remix. I have so much of their music still, but somehow I missed this one. Unless it's more recent than I'm thinking. But no, I'm really happy you brought this on because this was one of my other favorite songs from 9. And not only because I love Chocobo Hot and Cold, like to a ridiculous level, but I really do. So now, can I say anything more insightful than both of you did? No, I don't have the historical context behind it. So thank you for covering that so well.
Yeah, thank you.
But so much fun. I'm definitely gonna find a playlist of mine to put this on because I want to listen to it some more.
Yeah, as soon as this started up, I just was like in love because I love Reinhardt's style of guitar, and it brings just such like a swing, and just the swing it brings to the beginning of this piece. You almost don't quite know what you're going to get if you don't see the title, because they really introduce it with, let's establish the style, then we'll get into the song really, really nicely, which adds like a kind of bit of a mystery to it, which feeds into that Romani gypsy kind of vibe. Yeah, then you get what you signed up for essentially, and it translates beautifully into this style. And I love that solo at like 155, that little like bridge that just it brings kind of what Jana was saying on, I think it was the first episode of the calming music, the relaxing music one that you did, where just like a statement of an arrangement is just what they're able to, the level of nuance they're able to bring to the piece. Because this one is fairly faithful, but the instrumentation changes it up, but then you get that nice bridge that still plays within the established constraints of the instrumentation and the written music, like hitting all the right notes and staying in the same key, but it takes you on a nice little journey that before you get to that little plucky finale.
Mm-hmm.
And my love of Rachel Portman's work on Chocolat, just like this immediately, I was like, I'm in.
I can definitely see that. Heck yeah.
Yeah. Chocolat is a fantastic soundtrack if no one's listened to it, and if you like the sound of this, go give that a listen.
Ooh, okay, I will.
But yeah, thanks for bringing this on, because yeah, like Mike, I also have a huge collection of OC remix stuff, and I apparently overlooked this one at some point too, and it's mine now.
Glad to bring it.
What's also mine now? The other song?
Yeah.
So yeah, Melodies of Life is, like I said, a staple on the soundtrack, but one of the bigger reasons I picked it is because I couldn't really grab Over That Hill, because that was way back on, was it the Overworld theme episode? I want to say.
Maybe. It's of the few songs that have been on the show, Over the Hill or Over Those Hills, has been on twice, like in 2 different arrangements.
Yeah,
So we didn't really need it a third time. We need some new stuff.
Exactly, but I absolutely love that motif of Over That Hill in any way, shape, or form. It's just such a beautiful song. And I think I'm also tied to it too because it was the first song. It's the first song I scored perfectly in theater rhythm, curtain call. And just so it resonates with me that much more. And it's just a beautiful song. So Melodies of Life has that motif in it and takes you on a bit of a different journey. And this piano, like all the piano albums from from the Final Fantasy series, all those collections are fantastically, brilliantly performed. And I love taking like the ballad that is Melodies of Life and then adding a bit of like that gentle easing into it to make it a bit more personal, intimate. And then once it gets in there, it's just that big expression of all the emotion that's in that song as like the pianist just brings that emotion through fingers into the keys and then it rounds out again with this whole like I've said what I feel and this is what I feel. I hope you still can accept me. Okay.
Oh.
Kind of thing. Like it's just a beautiful journey through this rendition of the song.
Yeah, I love it. I'm glad you mentioned the emotional part of it. I wrote down more of and has like an energy to it, and part of that was because I also like a lot of the Final Fantasy piano albums, and I think a lot of the times, not in every case, but a lot of it is sometimes they'll take the songs, like even boss battles or some more things you're used to in an upbeat way, and it'll slow them down or make them more mellow, which is a good fit for the piano usually. But I thought this one was interesting that they didn't do that. Like it still has this energy, it still has this liveliness to it. And I think that really works for this song. So it was a good take on it. And I don't know if I've heard it. I think Piano Collections for 9 is one of the few I somehow don't have. So I hadn't really listened to it much until today.
I'm definitely not averse to a great Final Fantasy vocal track. Like Eyes on Me is one of my favorite songs ever. But I've never really jived that much with Melodies of Life as it has appeared on the OST, the vocal track with Emiko Shiratori, I think. And this one, when I heard
Great performance aside.
Yeah, it is a very good performance. But it never really clicked with me. But then hearing this version that Greg brought, I was like, yep, I love this. I adore this melody. I think it brings it out so well. When I listened to the song, what I wrote down was C'est la vie distilled. It's just, there's a bit of nostalgia to it. There's a bit of sadness. There's even a bit of like an awkward love to it. But that's how it goes. It's that's what these things are like. The pain you feel, the hurt you've gone through, the loves you've had, the love you've lost. It's the melodies of life. That's just how it goes.
Yeah.
And I think it's gorgeous for that.
I think what turns me off on it on the OST itself is just that the song doesn't even sound of its time. Like it sounds like a ballad of like far earlier, like late 80s, early 90s. Like, and just the way it's mixed, it sounds like it's being sung by someone in a karaoke like room. And not like in a bad way. Again, the performance is great, but just the way it was put onto the soundtrack, it's like a nice little break and definitely very Disney as to continue with that whole whimsy of the soundtrack overall. So you get this nice musical moment that Garnet isn't miraculously singing along to as birds flit about her, but it's it just makes me, it evokes the vibe of like a karaoke room from like Yakuza. And I could see like some drunken gang member trying to sing along to Melodies of Life.
Oh God, I want that now. Now I wish that was real.
Well, if we get that Patreon going, I'll make it real.
Okay, I'm not sure how those two are connected, but
I will do a video specifically for YouTube if we get the funding.
Oh.
And at some point in the future, I'm sure we can get a certain member of RPG Fan to cosplay as Yakuza at a con and have a couple and just rip on the song in
exactly.
A certain number?
A certain number, right? Yeah, because there's a certain number. We'll just leave it at that. I mean, but it's not me. Like I won't do that.
But you can sing.
Which is why I'm bad at karaoke.
Oh.
I do both, so
All right.
I'm in.
Oh, okay. Fine then.
We'll do it together. That's what makes it better. More drunken gang members singing together.
I'll be the Majima to your Kiryu.
Thank you so much. And we'll put Jono in a trash can, and you can be Ichiban.
I love that.
Actually, I'm very excited for when con season comes back and people actually start like cosplaying as him in a garbage can.
Oh,
it'd be such a fun, easy cosplay.
Brilliant.
But Melodies of Life, am I right?
Yeah.
I
don't know.
It's just a beautiful.
I don't think we can get back.
No, yeah.
There's no way to get back to
fair.
that now.
That was a poetic summation of everything there, Eva. Thank you.
Yep. So, okay. I think that was a fun episode. I'm really happy that we finally got some great Final Fantasy IX out there.
I don't think it's possible to not have fun when discussing Final Fantasy IX.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I mean, I know I had fun today.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure you both did.
No. Just kidding.
You
No,
did
come
make
on.
Eva listen to the Chocobo theme from FF10 too, so.
I'm like,
I made you both listen to that.
I mean, because I'm playing through it, I was going to have to hear it at some point. So
That's fair.
I'd rather hear it. I'd rather hear
You're
it in a
prepared.
controlled setting. Yeah, in a controlled setting where it's like, hey, you're going to hear this track. It will kind of make your ears bleed. If you want to look it up, go ahead. Rather than me playing the game and then just being bombarded by this awful thing.
The tweet post from Eva. So I quit Final Fantasy X-2 today.
I did actually.
Here's why.
Celosi had put on Twitter like, "Oh, this is how I like to play Final Fantasy X-2," and I said my favorite play style of Final Fantasy X-2 is not playing it.
Oh dear.
Oof.
But how do you really feel?
Glowing review.
Yeah, going 10
Yes.
out of 10. Better.
10 out of 10.
That's gonna be the next review.
10 out of 10 too.
Wait, you're gonna give it a 10, but our scale goes to 100.
Exactly.
100 out of 10 too.
Ah. Oh dear.
That's why I don't teach.
10-2 is 10-2 too many.
Oh god. Oh, ow.
Your brain? Is your brain hurting?
Oh, it's hurting. It's a hurting.
Yeah, mine too. All right. Well, I think we should wrap up,
Yeah.
and then we'll talk about a bonus track today. So this was Rhythm Encounter 57. Coming next will be Rhythm Encounter 58, and I can't tell you what it is because as of this recording, we don't actually know.
Oh gosh, we almost got him.
We almost got him. So we are going to figure that out. Although in the meantime, if you have suggestions for future episodes or want to share feedback or whatever you want to tell us about the show, you can email us at music@rpgfan.com.
Favorite songs that involve whistling.
Yes. If you, I'm not sure that'll be the next one. And then also in your podcast show notes, you'll have a list of all the albums and songs that appeared today and places to listen and places to stream. So you can see everything that was featured here, including a track list on what songs were featured and when. And that is in your podcast show notes, but also on rpgfan.com. And there's a link to the post within the show notes even, because we like tying all that stuff together. Beyond emailing the show, if you want to contact me at all for anything, the best way for me is just email as well, which would be mike@rpgfan.com. And what's the best way for people to get in touch with both of you?
So you can find me on RPG Fans' social media accounts on Twitter and Facebook mostly, and you can find me on my personals as @evilise on Instagram, Discord, and Twitter.
Yeah, some good tweets on both those accounts from Eva. If you want to not tell Mike directly to keep me off Rhythm Encounter for the future, you can also @ me on Twitter @GregDelmage. I am Greg D at rpgfan.com. And since I'm on Random Encounter, podcast at rpgfan.com is also where you can find me.
Random encounter, you say? What is this?
Random Encounter is that thing that happens when you walk out in the street and suddenly your world swirls around you, and then what the heck, you're fighting a squirrel? But also, it is RPG Fans' arguable flagship podcast. I don't know. It's the one that started it all by Rob Steinman, and now I host it with Jono, who I kept trying to say their name the entire episode and had to fight it. And we just talk about random video game stuff, new games, old games, mostly new stuff. And yeah, come have a listen.
Yeah, we should definitely encourage people to listen to that. Random Encounter comes out every 2 weeks or so, about the same schedule as Rhythm Encounter. And then, since Solosi is not here to plug his show, we will also do that for him. Be sure to also check out Retro Encounter, which...
It's a pretty good show.
It's a good show. And at this point, there might be an argument for that being one of our flagship shows.
I was going to say
that one's weekly.
There's so many.
Yeah, I mean, we can't... Neither of us can really keep up with Solosi, and
Nope.
He runs a tight podcast ship. So there is always something good on Retro Encounter, and that comes out every week. So check that out as well. And then lastly, I know I say this every time. I know you're probably tired of hearing it, but...
Wait, let me guess. Is it so
What?
people comment on the show, and then if they subscribe, it'll make the show more visible?
Something like that, yes. But only if you liked it. I don't want you to give us a fake review. If you didn't like it, then you don't have to review us. But if you do enjoy the show, any of our shows actually, and would like to leave us a review or subscribe, that would help us out. And we would also appreciate it on top of that. So thank you in advance if you feel generous and want to do that. All right. And now we have reached the end. And one of you has a special bonus track, and I really have no idea what this is and what we're getting into. So what do we have?
When we got down to it, fisticuffs were had, words were exchanged, and in the end, Eva took pity on me as I lay on the ground beneath them and said, "You take it." So, totally how it went. In a Burmesian storm.
My gift to you is your life and the bonus track.
Thank you. I was torn between a couple songs because initially in all my proper picks for the episode, I really wanted to get Dark City Trano in there in some way. Because I just love how that song sounds, and there's some great piano renditions that are just like that lazy, kind of out of tune piano. But in the end, I went with another OC remix. Their album Worlds Apart, I actually kickstarted that and got their other albums that they released too in physical form, which was great, and it's a beautiful package, a lot of great music. March of the Robbers in Trano is done by Blue Lighter for the album, and it's so fun. It's just a circus of bumbling thieves bumbling around this town that claims to be this big thieving town, but there's also just this whole pomp and circumstance of the upper class. It's just their rendition of this song just perfectly, I think, it sticks to the entire feel of this soundtrack and brings it to a different place with this almost like March of the Gladiators. Is that song? Yeah, it's great. Have fun with it. It's a great listen.
Great. Yes, it is indeed a great listen. All right. Well, thanks for bringing that one.
You're welcome.
And thank you both for being here. Thanks everyone for listening, and we will see you next time. Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye. My name is Mike and I like chocolate. My name is Mike and I like chocolate. I'm gonna eat so much chocolate tonight. Yes, I really am. You can't stop me. I don't know.